Hey, welcome to another episode of Real Conversation. I'm your host, Nicole Jones,
And I'm Quana Terry.
and we would like to thank you for joining us here tonight. Ah, look at my beautiful co host, aka Cousin Quana.
Hey, what's up, cuz? You look
How
as
you
beautiful
doing?
as ever as well. I am so
Thank you.
good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Can't complain. I'm loving this color on you, though.
Oh,
It's like
thank
a
you.
burgundy, right? I love it.
Yeah, it's like a
It's
wine
nice.
color.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I say burgundy. She said wine.
Yeah, you know. Yeah, it's like a wine color. I love this color. Um, but I'm also loving, I remember we talked about last week how I was like, I need at least 3 or 4 consecutive days of warm weather. And look at God. I listen, we had good weather on Sunday, on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I mean, even though there was some rain,
Hmm.
um, it was still like 70 degrees, 70, 74. And I was like, yes, I was so happy. Still not enough to make me take off my jacket, but just enough so I could put on a nice sweater or whatever. So
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Well, good for you. I'm glad you guys are having that nice weather up there. As you already know, we're already having it down here. I seen a rabbit yesterday. I was so
Mm,
excited. You know how I love the animals, except for
I
snakes
know,
and spiders,
Nicole.
okay? But I seen it and I was like that close from it. And I was just like, oh my gosh.
Aw.
Oh my gosh. It was like no cameras. And went under like a car or something like that. And I'm like, because you know me, with
You follow them.
don't
I
go
tell you,
nowhere.
you be the one that follow the balloon into the sewer. I'm like, where you going?
No,
What's
ma'am.
down there? What's
No,
down
ma'am. We know what's down there. We don't go that way. No, ma'am.
Too funny.
Mm-mm.
Oh my God. Nah, but you love you some wildlife, and I love that
I
for
do.
you.
I do. I'm the
So
one I'll record the little frog underneath the mailbox. I record the lizards. There's different type of lizards down here, and I love it. I love
yeah,
it.
yeah, we love them. We just love. I love animals. Period. You know, I think they bring a certain awareness to you when you go around them. So like, ooh, okay.
Yes.
But yeah, so that happened. So I know you've been having wonderful weather, and sometimes
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
hot. But
Too hot.
so yeah, too hot, right? And this is just the start.
I
So
know.
get ready, my love. Get ready. But you have had your warm weather for some time now, and the fact that we up north are getting it, we're excited. But also, what happened was this was right after maybe like a few days after our show last week,
Hmm.
and they talked about Usher
Mm.
and Chris Brown,
Yes, ma'am.
possibly, or a tour loading for Usher and Chris Brown. Child, when I heard it, I almost dropped everything. I was like, where is my credit card? It is on and popping.
Listen.
Okay. This is a tour that I would not miss. And you know what? Um it's going to be so just a popular. They'll probably have to keep adding dates and
Yes.
cities and stuff like that. But if you miss this tour, you just that no. So I know I was speaking to friends and I was like, listen, I hope they do a Citibank joint so that you get the pre-sale, whatever it is. I needs to be on that. Oh, I need to
Yes.
be there. I don't care where it is. I needs to be there. I don't care. I would travel for this because,
Listen.
oh my God, I'm so excited for it.
Cannot wait. I'm just so excited. I'm a huge fan of both of these guys. They are great
Right.
performers. So I'm just like in awe. And I'm like, man, oh man, oh man. If there's no other concert that I go to, I have to go to this one. Okay?
Yes.
Have to, hands
Yes.
down. This is gonna be a great concert.
It is. And I'm hoping that I could probably do a meet and greet. It's probably going to cost. so much money.
Listen here, Linda. Linda, listen.
But
We need to
but
listen.
when will you get the opportunity again, you know?
That's true.
So that's my thought. So we'll see what happens, but I am super excited, super stoked for it because this is a long time coming. The dancing, the singing, the songs, like the set list is just going to be amazing. And it's probably going to leave you wanting more because both of them collectively have a huge and extensive library of music. Like, you
Yes.
know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't even know what they would do, what how they would even put this together. Now, Chris Brown is coming off of his very successful Breezy Bowl tour,
Mm-hmm.
and that was amazing. So having two dancers on tour, who two guys who are at the top of their game, it's gonna be amazing. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I'm so excited. I don't
Really
want to talk
excited
about
for
it.
this one. I can't wait
Yeah.
for them to actually post the actual dates. And I wish these people will stop posting these fake dates because it's confusing people. But except for the
Uh-uh.
smart ones who actually go over there to check to see where they're going to actually buy the tickets. Oh, those days are fake.
Yeah,
Because people are getting too
absolutely.
excited.
I don't even do that. Like, if you are just like a fan, like, if you subscribe to their pages, to
Mhm.
their fan pages, you'll be able to get the updated information. So I don't be watching to see
That's
what
true
everybody
too.
else doing.
Mhm.
Once they do that, because I do that for Beyonce all the time. What tour is coming? Oh, okay. Thank you. I am a Beehive member.
Mhm.
I know what's happening. So definitely, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to their mailing list for both of them, so that if you don't even get one notification, you definitely know you'll get the other one. So
True.
so just subscribe if you can. But yeah, right, I'm waiting for that. I am on it. I was like, okay, coins.
Mhm.
It's not going to be Chuck E. Cheese coins. No, no, not Sonic coins at all. It's got to be real American dollars. Okay, so I'm excited.
Yeah, very excited about that. That's gonna be a great show to watch.
Yes, absolutely. It's a great show to go with your friends or go with your boo, provided you have a boo at the time. But apparently there's some people who are getting divorced out here in these streets, so and
Woo.
separated but divorced or whatever else. I'll let you go into that, Nicole.
Yeah, so divorce can feel like, it's the end, but what if it's really a new beginning for you, so in this episode, we're diving in talking about what life really looks like after divorce, from heartbreak to healing to discovering and growth, with conversations.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Growth
yeah, that's right.
with conversations, yes.
Hmm.
It gets honest about the emotional, mental, and even financial shifts that come with starting over.
Yeah.
Whether you're freshly divorced, in the middle of it, or years past, uh, you know, we'll remind you you're not alone, and there
Right.
is life, love, and purpose after divorce.
Yes, it is. I can attest to that. Definitely is. Um, we know there are two people, and you saw it on the screen not too long ago. Two people who have been separated for a very long time. I think for about 10 years, right? They've been
Hmm.
separated. I don't know if they've been living separately.
Yes,
They have. Okay,
yes.
so they've been living separately. And I remember her saying she promised that she would do her best not to get a divorce, unless there was something that prompted that, which is
I
weird
think
because
I
why
think
would you
Will
go
was
into
the
that?
one. Will's the one that didn't want a divorce because he's already been divorced. I remember him
Okay.
saying that years ago.
Okay.
You
All
know,
right.
yeah.
Okay. So in this case, so for what you had, shared with me, Nicole, was that um there are negotiations, right? Or divorce negotiations or divorce proceedings going on, correct?
So, according to what it is that we've seen, yes, there's a lot of posts going around stating that they are actually going through the process of getting divorced. And I don't know if you've seen Jada's been, streaming lately, having interviews, and one thing she keeps bringing up is the slap, Will Smith slapping uh
Chris Rock.
thank you. I don't know how I just had that was like a brain fog right there.
It's okay.
Yes. And how she immediately apologized to Chris Rock about it, and how she stated that it was something really, really old, and how at that time they haven't called each other, husband and wives, because they were separated. But clearly, whatever was going on at that moment, we don't agree with what Will Smith did in regards to that, smacking Chris Rock. It was out of character for Will,
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
but clearly there was something going on there that and he was probably just in an emotional state. But for this woman who is so quick to jump on a bandwagon to like talk bad about Will and what it is that, I'm shocked he did this because of this, or he shouldn't have never did this because this is happening and this. It's like, come on, Jada. I love both these people, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
I love Jada. I love Will. So I'm not saying it in regards to like I'm on Will's team and hating on Jada. It's just no matter what took place, at the end of the day, that's still your husband. And he thought that he was defending you. So even like whatever conversations you guys had in private, that should never have been public. You should never be sitting up here having conversations about what he should have never done. That should have been between you and Will.
Yeah, and I feel as if, regardless of whether or not you are together, someone disrespecting you, and you're not only his wife, but you are the mother of his children.
That part.
And, you know, I don't think, personally, I don't think that he reacted because she was his wife. I feel like he's like, this is a woman that I know and love, who's the mother of my children, and she's being disrespected. I need to avenge her. I think that's all that it was. But she has to make it out to be something else. But it's something that I think too, there's just, how there has to be a reason why you do things. So there's a reason why I want to get a divorce. Now, does that reason hold up? No, but you know what? Let me add in something else that I'm supposedly upset about, and make that the narrative for me separating. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It I think it's BS. However, if however Jada wants to handle that, she handles it, and whatever makes her sleep at night, let her do that. She doesn't have to answer to us at all. It was her marriage, so she doesn't have to answer to us. She had to answer to somebody else. So
But it's so funny because he's the one out there living his life, and she's sitting up here bringing up the past. Like, it's how many years has it been since it happened already?
yeah,
She's
yeah,
even bringing up the red table talk when she brought him. Remember, he was crying on the red table talk. I'm
yes.
like, come on, because
I mean,
sorry,
no,
apparently
yeah.
they said something about her being the big bad wolf, bringing him on there, airing things out and stuff like that. And I think she's trying to change the narrative of that story. That's what I think.
I think she's basically trying to change the narrative of the entire situation,
Yeah.
right? This was once a power couple, still so, right? A
Yes.
power couple, a couple that people idolize, and in some cases people envied their marriage, but all that glitters isn't gold, right? So now it's more like, I need to save face and I need to protect my reputation
Yeah.
because I'm out here looking crazy. I mean, just stop speaking. Stop speaking,
That's it.
That's all you have to do. No one's even asking for these stories. No one's asking for explanations. It didn't work out. Oh well. Just stop speaking. And I learned that the hard way. Just be
Right.
quiet. Yeah, so I think it definitely is important for you to just be quiet. Like, she didn't have to say what she said, and she just leave it alone. I know she's doing red table talk or whatever else, and she's talking about all the old stuff, but she should just leave it alone. I don't know, Nicole. What do you think? Do you have anything else to add to that Will and Jada segment?
Um, I mean, I'm really big on, she needs to just keep her mouth shut about it. Like, just let it do what it do. And let whatever happens happen, because no one really needs her to be out here having interviews talking about stuff, that we already know, and we don't care about the rest, and just go through your divorce, basically.
Right. And you know what? And that's a perfect segue. She said, "Go through your divorce." Come on. That's a perfect segue into today's topic, right? Life after divorce. Sometimes we don't know how to navigate those spaces, and we don't know how to navigate our emotions through that. I believe that she's still trying to save face, right? Because of the August Alsina thing. So many things that she looks bad in, right? So she's trying to now point the figure at Will and make the world see him in a negative light.
Yeah.
So I think that that's where she is with it. Is it right? Probably not. No, it isn't. But is it something that happens even in real life divorces? Absolutely.
I mean, listen, whatever went on between, her and Will, the reason why they decided to live separate lives, right? It worked for them for so many years because no one was in their business. No one knew what was going on but them. Um, it's only when August Alsina came out and let them know, hey, I'm smashing Jada. That's the only reason why that ended up happening. That's the only reason. Just imagine the immense. You hear me? The amount of backlash she received from that, because it seemed like they was in this committed relationship, and they were so loving, and everybody wanted this relationship that Will and Jada had, because they, at that time, and I'm not including like Denzel and all the other people, but they were the ones who never broke up. They were in the spotlight with their relationship, and they never broke up. They had this amazing family. So when August came out with this crap that went on, it's just like, bad Jada, bad Jada.
Yeah, she got her hand slapped, She did. She got her hand slapped, and it made it for her. People looked at her in a negative light as if she was the one that ruined the marriage. But they had already been separated or have been um going down the path of divorce for a very long time. That's just something that we weren't made privy to, right? So
And that's okay.
yeah, and I think it should be like that. But I feel as if, there's a lot of healing that has to go on, especially when you have betrayals and things of that nature. A lot of healing needs to happen. And I feel like with her doing like almost damage control to protect her reputation, it's like she still cares. So there's still that healing aspect of it that needs to happen, because she's still almost like, again, pointing fingers.
But I
And
also think it's not just that part. I think she's also, it's like she's trying to do damage control, but she's making the situation worse. Because it's not like it's what's going on. If you're trying to fix something, you're supposed to be doing that in the moment. This is years later. Man, we don't care.
yeah,
We don't care what took place. Yeah, we was worried about, hey, Will, because she was like she's trying to make it seem like Will had some form of mental breakdown or something like that, which is, come on. I mean, granted, he's probably, gone through something in regards to, because what's going on within his relationship, but we don't know any of that information, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
So whatever took place, that was between you guys. I said, and for that to be, public, be brought out into the public, it's just a bit much. And now that we all privy to what took place, I mean, it makes sense why she was out there, dealing with whoever it is that she was dealing with. But guess what? So was he. He had relationships. But guess what? We knew nothing about it. Why? Because he's a private man. Whatever happens in his private life happens in his private life. But now, her bringing this out, I can understand, and I believe that he's probably the one that sat there and said, "You know what? I think it's time. I think it's time for us to end this. The kids are grown; they're older now. We ain't got to stay here together. We don't."
Yeah.
She's sitting up there talking about, oh, maybe one day I'll let him back in the house, ma'am.
Listen, I mean, all of it is just, I feel like, publicity stunts and, a chance to save face. But at the end of the day, if it's going to happen, let it happen. Let it unfold the way it's supposed to unfold. And you guys separate your assets, do the whole thing that you have to do, the whole spiel when it comes to divorce. Now it's like, so, but unfortunately, they're in the public eye, so everything is plastered everywhere.
Yes.
They can't help that. But for us regular folks, like life after divorce, what does that mean? How does that look? It definitely requires patience with yourself. It requires handling yourself with care. And it also requires a level of autonomy, because you are now going to be separated from someone who maybe you have been in a relationship with. Even if you've been in there for a year, it's still something that was brought together and you had to build a life together, right? So now you have to figure out how to do life without that person or separated from that person, and that can look like a scary thing in a lot of ways. And then of course you worry about the monetary impact, the financial impact that it may have on you, especially if you are someone who is codependent on your spouse, right? There's
Mhm.
so many things that you have to navigate through when it comes to divorce and how to deal with that afterwards. So,
I mean, there's so many different stages, right? There's the reality check that this is actually happening. This is going down, right? There's the grief, the anger, the relief, all at one time. Losing and finding yourself, the healing, the healing process. And that consists of triggers, setbacks, and silent struggles. Um, Going to therapy, finding faith, having a support system. And then, you go back to dating again, or, if that's the path you go through. Some people tend to jump right back in, and then there's some people that tends to stay on the sideline and go through what they need to go through before they, instead of including somebody else in. But they said dating again, you can date again. And then it's like, when is the right time to date? You go into all that, and then all the different crap that goes on with dating, because it's a different dating pool now. So you got to
yeah.
figure all that stuff out. So I mean, but it's not saying that it's not possible. Some people it works, really quick. They just jump in and it's great. And then there's others that they don't know where they fit in, and it's just take one day at a time. But pay attention to like just because you're getting divorced, a divorce is basically just a breakup, right? It's a financial breakup, right? Did I say that right? A financial breakup?
All right. It's that's one of the components, but go ahead.
Okay, so people tend to start having trust issues. I'm just trying to make it seem like, even though, you know, that's marriage, I feel like is a binding contract because you guys are in a contract, right? And and a relationship is it's not a contract, but it's I think it goes neck and neck depending on how where you guys are down the line, right? Where you guys are committed, the commitment of it all. So trust issues come with that. um you end up with the trust issues, you start having new standards, you start forming new boundaries, right? Paying attention to red flags. Uh you don't like you don't refuse it, and you don't ignore it, right? If you have kids, co-parenting, um putting them first without losing yourself. I think I would like to say that we always put our kids first. I know I did. My kids always went first. No matter what was going on in my life, I always made sure that, they were front and center and everything was done for them before myself. And I know we're supposed to take care of ourselves before we do anything else. But what do you think about that, Quana, before I go down, the rest of them?
Um, I mean, talked about a lot. It, I don't know. I feel as if, there are a lot of different emotions that you go through. I understand it. I've dealt with it before, so I'm speaking from a place of experience.
Mm-hmm.
You go through a lot of emotions, sometimes anger, sometimes grief. If when you're getting marriage is ordained by God. So your spouse is supposed to come right after God, and then it's your children.
Mm-hmm.
However, sometimes if your spouse cannot lead, like the spouse is supposed to be able to lead. If the head is sick, then the body is sick. So I'm not following you down the path of destruction. So it's definitely gonna be me and then my kids. I'll continue to pray for you, but for the most part, like I'm not following someone who does not know how to lead.
Wait. Let's touch on that.
Okay.
If you're in a relationship and that's the case, right? How do you get your partner to get on board where he or she, let's say he, because we're women, he can lead the way he's supposed to.
I think allowing him to do that and having the necessary conversations, letting him know, and sometimes, going to counseling as well so he can understand his role as not just a man, but as a husband, the leader of the family. A
Agreed.
lot of men don't know that because they've never experienced it. They never seen it. A lot, especially black men, they come from broken homes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they've never seen a man lead. And if a man was leading, in a lot of cases, not in all, in a lot of cases, they've seen abuse. They've seen narcissistic behavior. Now that we've placed in a word on that, right, on that behavior, they've seen narcissistic behavior. They've seen their parents or their moms be battered and talked down to and things of that nature. And so they don't know how to. So once you get with somebody and you realize that they don't know how to lead, one, I'm not going to say it's a red flag, but it's something that you should really take into consideration and make sure that that person knows their role and what is expected of them. And that comes from counseling and support groups, things of that nature. Because if he doesn't know his role, then it's not going to be a smooth ride. Similar to the woman, if she doesn't know that she is the helpmeet and she's supposed to be there by
Woo!
his side to
Mm.
build him up, um,
Mm-hmm.
but the thing about that is, like, when what happens when she knows her role to build him up, but then
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't know how to lead and he takes that as criticism, right?
Yep.
Like, hey, guy, but no, it's not criticism. I want you to be the best that you can be, but he's coming from a place of hurt, and he's operating out of a space of survival and not even out
He
of
can't.
love.
He can't accept what's being
He
said.
can't accept it.
Yeah.
So it's important to have those necessary conversations going into it, and then also recognizing what you fall short or how you fall short, and then
Mhm.
getting the help so that you can become who God called you to be in a relationship.
I just want to touch base on real quick because you said something about broken homes. Not all homes are broken. Some of them come from two parent homes that is working financially and all the other stuff. Like the parents are together, but it's still broken. So you guys got to understand that too. Like it doesn't mean that it's not always that there's one parent in the household. Sometimes there could be two parents in the household and it still be just as broken.
Yeah, I see that because I've seen, especially back in the day, I see people sleeping in separate bedrooms. That's a broken home. Like you are raising your children in a home. Yeah, your husband's there, your wife is there, but you guys don't have any characteristics of a healthy marriage, right? You're not, the kids don't see that love. They don't see any of that. They see you go in separate rooms every night. That's not a good example of a successful and healthy marriage.
There's a new event. So, while we're sitting up here talking about Will and Jada, I've come across a video that Jada basically said that the whole August Alsina situation was like publicity stunt or something like that. Uh Saving her marriage, and also that she already knew the situation with, Alsina, batting for the other team and everything. So that was supposed to have been, to save face or whatever for him and for her marriage. But another video was has surfaced since 2018, when Will was basically saying how he's no longer he's retired from making Jada happy. It's so crazy because I don't even remember that video popping up in 2018. But there's a whole video out there that's, him speaking, saying you can't make someone happy; they have to make themselves happy, which we already know. We spoke about that many of times, that about that particular situation. But
Yeah.
what do you think about these two videos that I'm talking about?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it was a vulnerable moment for him to say, that, he's tried, and you can't make someone happy who doesn't, who I would think that he's saying, you know what, it's a lot of stuff going on. She doesn't really know what she wants, and I feel like if you don't really know what you want, you don't know what makes you happy. No one else can do it for you. So
For sure.
he tried, and it had been a long time, that he probably has been working on that, or they've been working on it collectively. So it's almost like he's throwing in the towel, and that was in 2018. This video that you're speaking of about Jada talking about August Alsina, is this recent?
So the post is recent. It's saying, she's doing a bunch of interviews, and she keeps speaking about these past events. So I believe that that's one of the things that she spoke about from the post that I seen, because it's an interview that she had. Um, because she also spoke about how Will sat there and said he's retired and making her happy. She's also spoke about that in that interview as well, saying that she's come to the realization that no one can make her happy, that she has to work within to make
Girl, bye.
herself happy.
She knew that shit already. Stop it. Like, oh, sorry. It it's just annoying. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Like, just go in hermit mode, go in your little thing, do what you gotta do, heal, and then move forward. Like, we don't need all of these interviews. We don't need you elaborating on anything that we already came to a conclusion about. Like, what you're
That
saying is
part.
not something that we're like, oh wow. No, we thought that in the beginning when it first came out. So it's like you're doing all of this stuff is futile, but whatever. I wish her the best in that, but she's getting on my nerves.
I mean, I've been there. I've been to the point where I'm so annoyed for seeing. I used to love seeing Jada, because Jada's a fly girl. So I used to love seeing her. Now it's like, oh,
Yeah, it's like
I
just
don't want to
go.
hear what she's talking about right now. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's like
Just
go
move
on
on.
somewhere, go and heal already, and but leave us out of it, please.
Boom. That's it right there. She needs to heal.
Yeah,
Everybody's been so focused on Will. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
It's her who needs to heal. It's her who has the issues. It's her who's not satisfied in the relationship. That means she has passed, uh what do we call it? She has trauma from her past
Right.
that won't allow her to be happy within whatever relationship she has, you
Hmm.
know? So she needs to figure out what that is so she can move on happily, with or
Absolutely.
without someone.
And you can't do that by constantly confronting the past. Now, if you forgive what you've done, if you've forgiven Will or whoever else is a part of your past, if you've done that, then you move forward. And a part of that is actually truly forgiving and then stop and just let it be what it's going to be. You can't change it. So you move forward and you make different decisions. So I think that's what she needs to be at this point, because beating a old, timeline, going back to the past is like, come on, girl. We've already moved past that. You need to move past that. And if you can't move past it, don't hound us with the fact that you can't move past it. Heal yourself in secret. Go to your therapies. Do what you got to do in order to move past those particular events that have happened that have, of course, had a major impact on the way that you do life now. I get it. I understand it. But do it secretly, do it in the comfort of your own home with your people, with the close, with your support system. Do it with them, and then come out renewed, refreshed, and ready to tackle the world. But I don't want to hear nothing else
I mean, I
about what
disagree
happened 20
about
years
that
ago.
part. I think that she do need to tackle, in order for you to move on in your future, you need to tackle the past, right? But
Right.
there's just a wrong way and a right way of doing it. And I say that the way she's doing it is the wrong way. But you did have a point. Go to your therapist. Speak about those issues in therapy and then move forward. You hit that point. But in order so yeah, she has to tackle her past. She has to take accountability.
Yes, that's
Because
what
when
it
you take
is.
the accountability, it moves everything along smoothly.
That's
Okay,
right.
everything starts moving where it's supposed to land, and then you go from there. But when you sit up here and talk about pointing the finger and this person this and that person this and you're not taking an accountability.
Yeah.
I can care less about what this person and that person and he, she, whatever the case may be. What's your part? Go
Right.
from there. Whatever you did, move on. And once you do that, you go on to the next task. And whatever that task is, you go on to that next task. And,
Yes.
you'll be able to, heal whatever the problem is. But
That is very
the way
it's
she's
very
doing it,
true. I feel as if she she keeps harping on it again. Like I said, she keeps harping on it. But then there's a lot of pointing fingers, like you said, no accountability. And
yeah,
I remember we've all been in that space before, right?
of
Where
course.
we just had to keep talking about it and talking about it and talking about it and talk about it. But then it's like, okay, we have to get to a space where it's like, okay, let me own this. Let me own my part in this. And how do I move forward from there?
Yeah.
Forgiving myself, forgiving that person for their role in this breakdown, and then how do I move forward?
Yeah.
And that is, it takes a lot of work, but you have to take accountability for your actions in order for you to move forward. If you're constantly playing the blame game, it's just not going to work.
And stop trying to save face.
Mm.
Okay. Because if you're wrong, you're wrong. But if
Mhm.
you're not, you're not. Like it is what it is. But just be true to yourself and true to the situation.
It's
You
hard to
know,
be true to yourself though when you don't know who self is.
that part.
It's hard,
That part.
She
But
doesn't
then
even
that's
know
when
what
you need
makes her happy.
yes, that's when you need to be one with yourself. You need to figure it out. You literally need to figure it out. And I mean, this is something that we're supposed to learn on our journey as we're growing.
Yeah,
Before you incorporate yourself in a relationship with someone else, you're supposed to know who you are.
that's very true.
Because how
But
you gonna know what your likes and dislikes are? How somebody else supposed to know what your likes and dislikes are if you don't?
yeah, I mean, and we know that now, but
Yeah.
back in the day, we didn't know that,
No, it was
So
just about how
similar
to
to
learn.
her, we're going through this journey and we're trying to figure it out. And it's almost like trial and error. Not it's almost like it is trial and error. Oh, that didn't work. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let me do something else, you know? But like they said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. It's realizing maturity is realizing, okay, this didn't work.
Yeah.
Okay, let me try something else. And sometimes it's just not, it doesn't work. It just is not going to work with that person.
Right.
Right.
But it can,
So
right. The method is is good. It's good to go, but you just got the wrong partner to do that
correct.
with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've all gone down that path, and
Yeah.
it's you're the one that has to realize that, like, you can't keep covering up, like, whatever, the whatever, you know how when you scrape your knee when you was a little kid and you kept sitting up there like peeling it. How's it gonna heal if you keep peeling it? You keep
Mm-hmm.
peeling that scab. Leave the scab alone.
Stop picking at it. Yeah, that's a
So yeah.
perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, just leave it alone and let it do what it do. And then of course you take the necessary steps to heal it and to get better. But only those steps that you take to get better, not the steps. You don't need to take the steps that keeps peeling, pulling the band-aid off. You don't
Mm,
need that.
that part.
You just put the band-aid over it, accept it, put the band-aid over it, and then move forward and try to and then get things that will help you heal from it. Get that A&D ointment, get that
The
you know that,
Neosporin.
like, get that stuff on it to kind of help you move
Yeah.
along and smooth out that wound that you have,
Yeah. Try to get
um,
your skin back soft, and we don't need no rough patches.
right, exactly, so. Well, thank you so much for watching Real Conversation. Again, I am your host, Quanitary,
And I'm Nicole Jones.
and you can find us every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube at real_convos_podcast. And you can find us on Facebook as well.
At Real Conversations 2021.
So we thank you so much for watching once again, and God bless.